Alright lads, so here we are for the third episode of the F1 2015 modded career mode. This is the Chinese Grand Prix, and once again this is one of those tracks that I don't think will be one of our best, to be honest, because China, for me personally, I just don't really like this track, and for whatever reason we just don't go well here. But in qualifying we actually managed to qualify P17, I think, so not too bad when you guys know that I'm up against a field of Mercedes cars in a Red Bull with a straight line speed deficit. I think we did really well to not qualify last, so fingers crossed in the race we can go on the attack and potentially score more points in this championship. So if you're new to this series, just know that every single car in this series is of the pace of the Mercedes, so equal cars, equal drivers. It should make for a lot of fun. So here we are on the grid of the Chinese Grand Prix, round number 3 for the F1 2015 modded career mode, and away we go. It looks like a fairly average, probably, yeah, I'd say that's a crap start. And we can see Raikkonen going around the outside now into turn 1. We'll try and get around him if we can. Stevens going slowly on the apex. He was trying to go around the outside of someone else as well. But we made contact there with Vettel. Very lucky not to lose any damage there, but there's just cars going everywhere. We really just have to react to what's happening in front of us. And I think we did make all the right decisions there, because we've moved up a couple of places now, and Vettel squeezing us out, going into neutral to not hit Hulkenberg there. I think we did very well not to just completely lose our front wing there. And in all this carnage, all this mayhem of the first sector of this race, we've moved up into P8. So very, very good start so far. Somehow we didn't get any damage after just clipping Vettel's left rear tyre. But either way, lap 2 now, we will have DRS enabled right now. And there we go. There's the sign that says we have DRS enabled. Thank you very much, engineer. Now coming into turn 1, this is a very tricky corner for us as we, yes, we go up the inside of Hulkenberg there, so P7. You can see the front left tyre there starting to overheat already on lap 3, so one might suggest that tyre wear might be an issue in this race like it was in Malaysia. But in contrast to the previous race, we are continuing to move forward in this Grand Prix. That is very, very encouraging as we're now up in a P6 now. The leaders aren't really getting away. As we can see, I think Ricciardo was leading. He's now dropped back to 2nd or 3rd, but now we're still moving forward. This is really good. Our race pace seems to be very good. Massa going slowly on the exit of the snail section, and we're going to put it up into fast. Maybe go up the inside into this right-hander. No, we probably won't. We're a little bit too far back, but he is going slowly as we go purple to the first sector intermediate, getting a bit of wheel spin there off the exit. I think that's off turn 4. So, yeah, that's not going to do our rear tyre wear any good as we cut now to lap 6. We can see Massa still very close to us. We lock up the inside front tyre, just trying to apply that extra brake pressure to avoid running into the back of him. But, yeah, still can't find a way around Massa at the moment. It seems like our straight line speed deficit is preventing us from getting some overtakes done. We really need to make our moves stick in the first sector, and maybe if there's... Oh, we're going up the inside of Massa then. Okay, up into P5 now. So, as I said, we need to make all our moves into the first sector, because, as I said, we do lose a bit of straight line speed on the straights because we are in a Red Bull. But anyway, Massa now on the attack once again as we come into the hairpin at the end of lap 7. Holding it around the outside of Massa there, and we maintain P5. We're now coming in for a set of prime tyres now, because the tyre wear is starting to come into it, and I don't want to risk going the extra lap. I want to come in early, get the undercut, and potentially gain a few positions here in the first pit stop. So we've had a fairly good first in here, moving up a lot of positions. Surprisingly enough, the pace in the race has been very good. A lot better than what it was in Malaysia, that's for sure. Just a little side note, I forgot to say this at the start of the video. If we could hit, say, 2,000 likes on this video, then the next race will be a 100% race. That's going to be Bahrain as well. But anyway, this was the outlap of our first pit stop, and we've had one car retire and one car sitting on the pit straight there. I think that was Ericsson, so a bit of debris scattered on the straight there as well. So I don't know how two cars have managed to clash on the straight. I don't know how that's possible, but either way, the next lap we can see we jumped a few cars, including our teammate Ricciardo going around the outside into turn 1. That is effectively us into the podium positions, And as you can see from the replay, going around the outside of our teammate on the dirty marble side. And as you can see on the replay in slow-mo, you can see we jumped 4 or 5 cars there in that pit stop phase. So by stopping 1 lap earlier, we've gained, what, 4 spots. So that was incredible. And then the overtake on Ricciardo. You can see he's on the ideal line there, the darker patch of the racetrack, going around the outside, getting a bit of dirt and stuff on our tyres, but we got the move done into effective P3, I think we are now. So very, very good start here. Hopefully we can continue to move forward and see where this race takes us. But now we have a safety car on the 9th lap of this Grand Prix. I believe it was for the 2 cars that clashed on the start-finish straight, but we can't afford to just go really slowly here at the moment because there are cars who haven't stopped yet. So effectively we need to keep racing until we get onto the back of the safety car. It'll make sense once it all shakes out, but I think now we can sort of ease it off because now the cars are coming out of the pit lane. So there we go. We're effectively 3rd, are we? No, 4th. So 1 place behind Rosberg. I think that's Maldonado in P2 and Felipe Nasr leading this Grand Prix. Holy shit. Were you listening to the whole thing?
No, I wasn't.
That's so embarrassing.
What is it?
Well, that's a first. My friend Rachel just walked in while I was doing this career mode commentary, so yeah, that's never happened before. But anyway, I thought I'd leave that in there for the lols. You can see the safety car is now coming in at the end of this lap. I'm skipping through the safety car period because it literally goes on for about 2 minutes before we get going, and away we go here on lap 11. I've sort of lost my train of thought now, but I think we've stopped once, we're on the primes, and we're going to stop again around lap 18, 19. Nothing actually happened through this middle part of the race. We were just maintaining station to the 2 leaders. We pulled away from Ricciardo in the middle stints as well. That was quite interesting to note. So the tyre wear probably wasn't quite as strong as what it was in the first, and we were actually able to get away with doing 1 extra lap to cover off the undercut we did in the first stop. So coming on to the 3rd stint now, we've had a long pit stop. We've been held by, I think it was Rosberg coming out of the pits, or someone else going into the pits, I'm not too sure, because there was a big train behind us. But either way, the next lap you can see the rest of the runners are making their stops, and that releases us to effective P4. However, I think Maldonado is still yet to stop because he did stop at the late phase of the safety car, and I think he's pulling in now. So that releases us into P3 now, and we can actually see we're going purple for the first time in this race. A little bit encouraging now because the fuel loads are coming down, the track is starting to grip up, and it's now starting to, I guess, play into our hands now. You can see just how consistent we are over the last few laps, closing in the gap to Nasr and Rosberg by about 1 or 2 tenths a lap. We've been pushing so much, using up the tyres, using the fuel, using absolutely everything to try and catch these guys. Watch as we go through turn 1 and 2 now, just how hot the front left tyre gets, using up every little bit of tyre life we can to try and catch them. I'm also using first gear through hairpins, which will hurt the rear tyres a little bit, but it will give me a slight gain in lap time. So that's what I'm just trying to risk everything now to try and get possibly a race win, the first race win of this season, and it'd be absolutely special to get it at China, probably one of my weakest tracks in the entire calendar. But anyway, lap 26 now, we can see we're getting very close to Nasr now. We're in the DRS range. We might possibly think about a move coming into turn 4, possibly up the inside like we've done to a few others this race. But the gap, I think, is just too large, and I think we might have to wait for DRS on the back straight. Yeah, just not quite close enough to Nasr. He was going slow through there, just like the AI do, but he's just too far away. But anyway, it's the penultimate lap now. We're running out of opportunities where, you know, not quite close enough where we need to be in the 3rd sector. We just don't have the straight line speed that the front 2 do, and that really limits our overtaking opportunities. As you can see, using up the front left tyre quite a bit through this first and second corner, really. And then we're getting a bit of oversteer there because the tyres are now starting to give way a little bit. It's almost the final lap of the race. They've done, what, 8 or 9 laps now, and the tyres normally don't last very long around China. And as you can see, it's starting to take a toll now as we go over the curbs. The gap now is out to 1.6 seconds, and I think we've lost a lot of time on this lap. So a bit unfortunate as we put it up into standard. We've lost 1.4 seconds on this lap alone. So one bad lap, and it's completely ruined us here. Final lap, final corner. It looks like Nico Rosberg has won the race from Felipe Nasr, but us, though, we're going to get our first podium of the season. Thank you, engineer. It's our first podium of the season, as he said. Really unlikely podium, I must say, because it is China, one of my weaker tracks. Similar characteristics to what we saw in Malaysia, but somehow the result is so much better. The race pace here at China was a lot more encouraging compared to what we saw in Malaysia, so you know, that's one positive. The tyre wear also wasn't so bad. I think the safety car had something to do with that. Gave us a little bit more flexibility in terms of, you know, how far we could go into the race with our second or our first lot of primes, and that really made the finish to the race a lot easier. So third place, we've moved up into 5th in the driver's standings. Nazar is holding on in P6 there. So Nico Rosberg, after winning this race, it's his first race win of the season, and now he's moved into the lead of the Drivers' Championship. So very interesting standing so far. Carlos Sainz Jr., after having a very consistent run, is still in P2. The Constructors now, Red Bull Racing, now move into the top of the Constructors standing, so that is very fascinating. Myself and Ricciardo looking very good in the championship at the moment, but as I said many times so far, this season is going to be like a roller coaster pretty much. One bad result and you're probably out of the top 10 in the standings, but that's going to do it for today. 2,000 likes and we'll see a 100% race at Bahrain. So until then guys, I'll see you next time.